Boom, recording. Look, it's as simple as that and we're off.
Beautiful.
Right, so come out and about. I've been and done a photo shoot with our old mate Lee Archer. That was...
I've done a few.
You've done a few with him.
Yeah.
I was one of the inspos behind doing it, believe it or not. And it just happened to put me in Doncaster.
Yeah.
Which just happens to be where Drew Walker's from, who just happened to be saying 2 weeks previous in the UK, we should do a podcast.
It's fell well.
And so here we are, right? So in your gym, Drew.
Yeah.
So just, again, a few name drops. Tell us where we are, what it is, and how long you've been here.
So I'm originally from Rotherham, which is not too far from here. Literally, the Rotherham border is on Doncaster. Yeah. So I got the opportunity to buy this gym about 5 years ago. So I've had this 5 years now. But yeah, I've been all around Yorkshire and UK with bodybuilding. The times we've chatted recently have been at NABBA shows.
Yeah. Backstage at NABBA shows.
Yeah,
like that.
We've both got a lot of history with NABBA and a lot of passion for NABBA, really. But yeah, I've done shoots with Lee. I did a shoot with Lee Archer, a couple, I think.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I think I've probably done one at Retford at Good Bodies with Lee.
Yeah.
One at Muscle Fusion with Lee. But these are all quite a while ago. I've never done a shoot at World Gym where you've been today, but I have been to that gym. That is a very, very good gym.
I was really impressed by the setup in there. It's big.
100%.
Yeah.
Very, very nice premise.
Yeah.
Really nice kit. Crazy wicked bloke. But yeah, it's all good.
So, I mean, that's when you must have done those, would have been when you were first sort of setting out with your bodybuilding career.
Yeah, I think when I did my first shows, I think Lee was probably doing the photos for those shows.
When was this though?
My first show was 2010, NABBA North East Batley. And I'm 99% sure Lee was either doing the photos for that or years after that. I probably couldn't afford a photo shoot in 2010. So I don't think I did one in 2010. It might have been 2013.
What class did you do in? So that was that
under 18s. That's the trophies there. The one with the broken spear.
What you can't see on camera here, I'll get it in shot later, is the amount of trophies. This is what you want to see in it.
Yeah.
Right, some legacy, some actual credentials for being there, said it, done it.
There's a lot up there. There's a lot of there's some NABBA, there's some PCA, there's some Two Bros, there's some Open Yorkshire Classic, Jason Matthews and Paul Jeffries doing that independent show.
No, I did that one.
Yeah, I used to love that show. I don't actually know why they don't do that anymore. There's Dave Titterton's Class 1 Mr. Universe trophies up there.
Is it really?
Just that one.
That one up there?
That's Eliza's section. But all those on the middle of our firsts. That little one there is like my reject, anything that I didn't win section.
Right, that's my section. Loads of second places.
Do you know what though? I was quite fortunate that I started early, and even being in the age classes, I was a bit ahead of the age class. So I had a lot of opportunities to do well early on, but I have these chats with people all the time, and we don't control whether we win shows or not.
No.
I get new lads that say, all I want to do is win, and I'm like, you might want to rethink that a little bit, because
you're in competition with yourself.
Yeah, it's not up to you whether you win. Like, it's all opinions, ultimately.
Well, we got a few of them.
Yeah.
But it is, and it's
a tough sport from that point of view, 100%. The hardest worker doesn't always win the show.
No, and again, you can be outposed, right? You know, you might be the best physique out there, not present it well enough.
A bit of luck.
Yeah.
There's elements of luck. I'm not a big believer in luck, but there's definitely some elements of that, whether it's illnesses, tans, peaks. Yeah. There's loads, absolutely loads of factors.
There's a lot of... I was with a guy called Sean Hammer. Sean's an MMA, or a former MMA fighter, one of the most successful, I believe, in Britain.
Yeah.
He has a gym over in St Helens, and I was in his gym. Not the MMA one. That bit's not for me anymore. And we were on about the bodybuilding thing. So a couple of weeks out from, I think it was maybe the England, or a few days out from England. He looks well, and he says the hardest thing he'd ever done. He said, "Fuck getting in the octagon." He said, "That's a piece of piss. I'll fight anyone, not a problem." He said, "Bodybuilding."
Really?
He said he's done 2 shows in his career. He says that'll sort the men from the boys.
Yeah, I mean we've got a pro boxer in here, and I do often say to him, he's not done a show. He's capable of doing a show. I'm not trying to make him do one, but I tell him that he's got the potential. And I often said to him, like, what's harder so far then, like bodybuilding or boxing? But they're hard in different ways.
You've got different disciplines, aren't they?
Yeah, you've got people making weight for boxing, which can be tough. But I think the hardest thing about bodybuilding, especially on a prep, is the lack of the ability to have a break. Like you get footballers train, they can have a pint, they can have a meal. You do a tough 16-week prep with very little physical and mental breaks in it. That is hard.
It twists you towards the end, doesn't it? You must have done shows where you've gone all into that first show and give it everything, and you're thinking, I've got 2-3 weeks to a final here, and you've got to dig deeper again to really either hold it or grind it into being better than what you were the first time.
Yeah, especially getting in like true condition. Yeah. Obviously, there's
I don't
people.
know about that.
Well, I've not managed it many times. I could probably pick. I mean, I've done 32 shows now. I think.
Is that when you got under about 32?
Yeah, I could probably pick 2 where I would say that was really, really good condition.
Go on. What your favourite?
NABA Universe, 2013.
Yeah.
And probably 2019 NABA Worlds. They were my 2 where I were really on. And a lot of the time, I think it comes down to focus. Like, if you specifically focus on a certain goal, it's kind of obvious that would go better.
Well, that's same in everything. Like, if you set that mind, you set the mindset, the goal, and how we're going to achieve it, and you just go after it.
But it is quite hard to focus on one thing in this day and age, especially with so many
distractions.
Yeah, like in general life, but just in bodybuilding, there's multiple shows, multiple organisations. But one piece of advice that I give to clients is pick an organisation for a season. Focus on a qualifier, focus on a finals.
It's an interesting one, that, because we come from a generation where there wasn't much choice. There was really 2, possibly 3. UKBFF, NABA, and the IBFA following up. It was starting out just at the back of that 2010.
I know when I started, it was definitely very UKBFF NABA. And there was almost a feeling that you kind of started with NABA. If you were really good, you exhausted that, and you kind of went to UKBFF. Maybe
only to get an IFBB pro. That was where you were testing yourself.
And there was only one. There was one overall.
If you were good enough. Wasn't a given.
We had years watching Zach Caine not get a pro card, watching Sean Tavernier not get a pro card, and you're talking about guys that went on to be legitimate pros.
I mean, look at Sean.
Oh, Sean,
unreal.
It's a funny one with Sean because
he's only about this big, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But the amount of muscle and quality that guy carries, even now when I think he's trying to lose muscle, he's still absurdly big. But I mean, Sean was a legitimate contender for a top. I think he got top 5 at an Olympia when it was 202. Could have absolutely been further up there. And I don't know what happened, because I know Sean quite well, but I don't know what happened towards the end of his IFBB career. But then ultimately he gave that up and went back to the NABA PCA route for a couple of years.
Well, I suppose the jump. I mean, if you're coming back to you in a bit here, it is. When I've sat with like IFBB pros, people that we've known that have made the move or been good enough to go from, again, let's talk it right. So that it was always, you did the NABA route. If you were there, you get to university, winning with you, like Adamicky just has now. Right? And then you go, right, I'm going to go try and get this IFBB pro card and try and do the pro leagues. And you'd be sat with some of the lads, and it's the jump from going from that level of being the top amateur to being on the first run of the pro league is like starting again.
100%. And I think I don't make any exceptions for saying that genetics are probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest factor, and that's even more so when you get to that level.
We got to be on it.
You
can try and cheat it, but there's only so many of us that'll be able to carry that amount of mass on certain frames.
100%, and like the guys.
I'm not one of them.
Well, and I mean, I'm not deluded about where I belong either. Like I believe I can get a pro card. I believe in certain places, maybe in a 212, I could do okay, but I'm not the type of guy that's going to be winning pro shows and a shoe-in for a qualifier to an Olympia.
So let's backtrack it then. So we started out. How old are you now, Drew?
I'm 32 now.
32.
Yeah.
So you're still a baby, really, aren't you?
Fortunately for bodybuilding, yeah. I mean, you look at, and I know Ronnie Coleman is probably the freak of all freaks, but he were winning Olympias at 45 towards the end of his career. Dexter Jackson's another anomaly that was doing 40s, but I definitely think you can be looking at your peak at 35 and getting a couple of years after that.
I think you can keep going. I'd like to think you peak around your mid-40s, being 46.
No, to be honest, I would agree with that, and I think when I started, your 40s didn't look old, but maybe your 50s looked a bit older. Now, 40s, there's a lot of 40s that could take over all.
Some of the best physiques are in the masters classes.
Yeah, because you're a mature, experienced bodybuilder at that point.
So you're 32?
32, yeah.
You're a little whippersnapper, right? And you've been around this forever, because I remember you sort of...
Well, I've almost, probably more than half my life as being bodybuilding now.
And so you started out, obviously, you've done the Nabanorthy, you've done that junior class or teens class, would you?
Under 18,
teens class. You've then gone into, because weren't you in the food tech stable?
Yeah.
Ken and everyone.
So I met up with Ken in 2013. So like that early bit was 2010 Northeast under 18, but they never had an under 18 at the Britain, which was strange.
No, I don't get it.
And I don't think they even qualified the under 18s for the under 21 Britain, because at the time and still now, do they?
We've got a teens. There's a teen at the Britain.
Which they obviously should do.
Yeah.
But at the time, there was a novice and youth finals at the end of the year that was at Brearley Hill.
Right.
So, which is the same.
That's where the England is.
Exactly, yeah. So, at that point, I did that 6 months later, which is also the same time as the UK. So, in 2010, I won the under 18 NAB UK, but I was extremely soft. I got a very big gift by winning that one. And then
honesty to it.
100%. And then
fucking I've had a right result here.
It was like I felt very lucky to be under 18 Mr. UK. And I'll still tell someone that title now. I'll still ride off it now. And then I did the novice and youth finals. I came second, and I'm quite notorious for winning qualifiers and coming second at finals. I never seem to be my best at finals.
I just get second.
I'm
consistent.
Yeah.
Just like second.
But again, like it's tough. Every single person that's there is there to win, and like, unfortunately, we can't all win. And I
do say it right. None of us turn up to come second.
No, we don't. And like, but someone has to, yeah. And sometimes it's the hardest worker that wins. Sometimes it's the most gifted. Sometimes it's both. So yeah, So I think I did 2010 NABA shows. 2012 I actually went to UK BFF and did a qualifier, but...
What class was that in?
That's under 23 at this point, but I'm 20 doing under 23s. And to be honest, it were a bit mad at that point because I won an under 23 at 20 and everyone were a bit mind blown by it.
Yeah.
The way I picked that qualifier, it was 6 months away from the Britain, which I would never advise someone to do because it's
too far.
12
feels like it's a long time.
And also that was a 2012 British finals that included James Hollinshead. So I weren't likely to beat a 23-year-old James Hollinshead who'd already won a British title when that was 21. So this is 2012. I think I came sixth at that Britain. That was at Manchester. And then 2013 I focused on the England, which I won, the Universe, where I came third to Caine Orton from New Zealand, who's Scott Orton's brother, who's a IFBB pro.
I'm with you now,
and Glenn Ferguson from Ireland. So I got that third. I was probably in the best condition I've ever been. Honestly, that top six lineup, there was Vita Lima, who's now a pro, Ross Kerr, who's constantly knocking on the door of being a pro, me in there. Glenn's not done much since then, but he's absolutely capable of being a pro. I think Kagan's a pro in some organisations. So you basically had a top six future pro. Well, me. Well, I got that pro. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not downplaying that, and that was a massive achievement for me at the time.
It was big. It was a big deal, right?
It was still competitive in 2019.
Yeah, and it was one of two things, I suppose, at that point. There was still a pro league, there were still pro shows going on.
Yeah.
It was, unfortunately, it's almost the kiss of death within NABBA, because it's like, here you are, here's your pro, because I remember when Stu got his, right? And he went, well, that's me done, isn't it?
But the thing is as well, like, there's many years where there isn't actually pro classes.
No, I know.
So it's not even like you're done from a point of view where you're not placing. It's like there might not even be a show for you.
That's what I mean.
Unless it's like, right, we've got one this year, but it's at Worlds and that's in Brazil. And it's like, oh, I mean...
And then you don't know who's going to be in it, if anybody's going to be in it. Look at the universe.
I think the current Worlds is Australia. I saw someone posting yesterday about Australia, and I think it's pretty much self-funded. There's not many people that... Yeah, not many people are going to afford that. I funded myself to go to Ireland when I won the Worlds in 2019. And yeah, like I said, I'm proud of having a NABBA Pro card, and I would have loved to have had more opportunities to use it since 2019. And even when I came second at the Britain and then got that at the Worlds, people were at that Britain like Andy Scott, Dan McNabb, like it was competitive. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't one of the best ones.
Oh, it wasn't a time where it wasn't an easy win or an easy route at all.
What class were you in there at that point?
Class 2.
Class 2, which, let's be honest, right, is one of the biggest and hardest classes.
Potentially, because class 1, you get your really tall guys that are sometimes a bit lighter in terms of muscle or a bit softer, whereas class 2 seems to be that sweet spot.
That's where I would naturally sit as a class 2 if I was doing classes at NABBA, which is the fucking reason I don't do it.
Well,
because it doesn't. Height to weight ratio, classic. There you go, Phil. 5-year-old.
But then there's a discussion of is height classes better than weight classes?
Well,
because I don't know whether that's something that they would consider changing, but what do you do?
6 or 1.5 a dozen of the other, innit, right? Because you're always going to come up with some midget that's going to be in a weight class, and you're like, well, he's 2 foot.
And then also,
he's 4 foot wide.
Yeah, and then if you're offering pro cards and amateurs have got height classes, you almost automatically need at least 2 height classes as a pro, because again, you get a class 4, 5'2" pro against a 6'2" class 1 pro. It's not an ideal matchup.
It's not working, is it?
It's not impossible, but it'd be more ideal to have a...
We know the big man always wins.
Well, yeah, a good big guy beats a good short guy.
We know that. Yeah. Let's be right about it.
Yeah.
So, was that the last show you did then, 2019?
No, I did... I had a little run... 2021. Might have... I did a couple of PCA shows, or at least one PCA qualifier.
Yeah.
I did a 2 Bros qualifier, and I did the one of the first Arnold Classics that they did in the UK, which was a massive event.
That was huge, that.
That's a pro qualifier. I came third at that.
Our body, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you were still doing that.
And then 2022, I did the A1, which was a little bit random, but a show that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I still support the A1 Classic and Nicola now.
We're not friends. No, me and Nicola don't get on.
For the tanning.
There's a little bit more to it. I won't bore anybody on camera.
We'll leave that one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one where that is.
And again, I'm not a supporter or against any organisation at all. Like I would like all organisations to do well, and that show's almost not quite affiliated to IBFA, but it is an IBFA show. IBFA seem to be somewhat linked with NABBA in a way, but not officially, obviously. Like you'll see.
Let's call it fucking how it is, right? So, back in the day, me and Dave Foster put on one of the early IBFA shows, the first IBFA York show.
Yeah.
We put that together in less than 12 weeks, and it was the biggest show of that season. It was in November, and we looked at I was still with Steve Johnson, who I didn't know very well at the time. Stu were judging for us. Big Dan Weldon were there. Who else was in? Ian James had come down. There was who was it? Had just won.
So there's a lot of good influential people.
Oh, mate, there was right. Looking in the audience, we put this show on, first show I've ever put on, right, and it was wall to wall winners of everything you've ever known, and it was fun. But they say, I think back then it was always a grassroots stuff. And to argue right now the IBFA are pegging above where NABBA are.
I honestly think IBFA are a bit of a dark horse in terms of like. And it's not like we have to rank any organisations at
but
all. But
if we're talking about people participating and visibility,
100%, they've got a very strong masters turnout.
Yeah,
maybe not the strongest juniors turnout, but I think PCA have pretty much got juniors locked down because they've done the first timer thing. The first timer thing lends itself to a lot of obviously first timers, but potentially younger guys, social media. But yeah, IBFA. I mean, I see that the reason it's strange actually. The reason I did the A1 is because there was speaks of IBFA doing something pro-am based,
right?
But in order to be able to do it, you had to have won an IBFA show,
right?
And I'd never done one, and I think my partner was doing it. So 10 o'clock the night before, I was like, they're going to do pro shows for IBFA and there'll be a bit of money. Shall I just try and win A1 so I can do it? And I did. But yeah, it were good. Like, and I like the IBFA. I support any bodybuilding at all.
The way I put it is, I mean, we work with loads of different federations, everyone knows, right? I'm a bodybuilding fan. Been a bodybuilding 100%. Fan since I was fucking 6 years old, right? I love the sport. I want to see good stages with good athletes. I want people to have options. There isn't a one fed fits all, is there?
No, absolutely not.
You look at class, we talked about class criteria then. Are you better height to weight ratio? Are you better in just a height class?
And some classes, some federations offer different classes, don't they? So some people almost don't have a choice. And I think that's one of the problems sometimes. I do feel there should be a governing body that everybody sticks to. Potentially.
There needs to be a voice.
Yeah.
Whether something, a voice of fucking reason.
Yeah, 100%.
That says, look, come on, this is where that is. I mean, I saw my good mate Will Lloyd. Right, Lloydie. Won the Fitex.
Yeah. At
the Fitex scene, got a Fitex Pro card. It's fucking unpopular opinion. What the fuck is that worth? Absolutely nothing. If you're not doing a load of pro shows or a pro show.
We've also gone down this route now where people are getting pro cards for winning classes at qualifiers.
Oh, I'm so pleased already.
I know what they're doing. I know they're trying to build pro leagues, and I do believe building pro leagues is a good way for an organisation to work,
evolve.
But it has still got to have some form of like exclusivity to it. Because I made a joke that like if they're doing that for people now, I should get a pro card for almost every show that I've ever done.
But right, so let's be right. There's only certain fucking pro status that are really worth anything of pro status. Yeah. And again, I'm sort of going to apologise. I don't mean to offend anybody that has a pro status, and it's an achievement.
Yeah.
Let's get that right. But unless it's like IFBB Pro, with PCA Pro, we've got to include those boys.
Yeah, they're absolutely. There's definitely a benefit to that because, like we've said, not everyone's capable of being a good IFBB Pro. So it does. But then it sounds like you're selling it as a second-rate pro league, and it's not that at all.
No,
because there's a travel element.
Yeah,
having the ability to compete in a pro league and earn some money in this country is quite valuable.
100%.
But yeah, and you're seeing these people now getting these pro cards, and they're not using them.
Does it?
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
Mean anything
so it's not like
that old Instagram.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks. I'll put this on Instagram.
I'll get myself a few more clients off.
Yeah, but they're not getting a card and saying, right, my focus next year is the FitX Pro League.
I was with one of the young lasses who trains at our gym, young Jade. She's only 20 odd. She's bikini. She's done really well with 2 bros this year. And she was chasing a pro card. She won a load of her shows, I can't remember. And I was like, what are you going to do with it, Jay? She went, well, I want to get my pro and I want to go chase an Olympia.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you know when someone's fucking deadly serious?
Yeah.
There was absolutely, that was nailed in, done, that's what I'm doing. And I went, brilliant, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's, rather than it was, I just want the pro status, she was like, no, I'm doing it and I'm going to go for the fuck, I want to go as far as I can with it. Yeah. That's, they earned my respect anyway.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, again, this is not to downplay one of those classes, but that's not out of the question. Like for that type of person to win a pro show, because you're not talking about 10 years of accumulating tons of mass or genetics. And I mean, there's a girl, it's Kerry, isn't it? Kerry's just won a bikini pro show after quite a few attempts at trying, and now she is going to the Olympia. And like, And any athlete that gets to the Olympia, that is just mind-blowing. Oh, absolutely mind-blowing. Like, to comprehend that you've turned pro, won a pro show, and then you are going to the Olympia is just crazy.
Well, it sits you in an elite group, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, at that point, you're top 20 in the world, effectively, unless they've qualified a lot of people, which they do sometimes do, which I think is one thing they probably need to strict up on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
You want to see, like, your top 20 to 30 in the world, don't you? So
they want to see the best of the best.
Yeah, you've got a line-up, you've got maybe one or two call-outs, and then you're like, right, we've got a good idea as top 10. But yeah, to be in a top 20 in the world is just crazy, isn't it?
So where are you going with all this now, mate? Because obviously you've got this place here. I know you coach a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You're obviously doing well with that as well. I mean, the good lads go through yours. We've spoken a lot on camera with them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we've had some good local people come through and go to the local shows. We don't get too many lads that are potentially pushing for pro cards because there's a bit of a...
It's a difference, that. It's a big difference.
Yeah, there's a bit of a monopoly on stuff like that. Like, everyone wants to go to the big superstar coach that they see that they're probably going to pay X amount, or...
Are we talking local?
Well, yeah, there's some. I suppose you could say there's some. But yeah, I don't really sell myself as a coach. Like, I'll help people out if they come to me, but I'm absolutely not a full-time coach. Like, I have enough on with the gym and my own bodybuilding, to be honest. But yeah, like, I've had 2 occasions where I've been quite close to the pro card. I've competed with lads, some that I've beat, some that I've been close to. Thank you, pal. That have got cards. So I see people that have been at a similar level to me getting the card. So I know I can get it. I don't want to play this game where it's like a bit of a roulette as to dropping on the right one at the right time.
Yeah, just want to do it.
Yeah, I want to turn up at my best and legitimately win a card. For me more than anything else. Like, maybe as a bit of a fuck you to some people, but
it's always nice when you're having a down moment just to go, that cunt said that.
Well, that's just human nature over time, isn't it? But the main reason is for me because there's, again, like we've said, there's other pro leagues that I could absolutely put my time and effort into that would serve as a big benefit.
Well, you suppose this is not pivotal, but you're at a point in your bodybuilding career where you've achieved quite a lot already. You've clearly got the frame, the physique and the genetics to carry on and go and really push on.
Yeah.
So what's the time frames? What are we looking at? We're going to see you on stage next year, the year after. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on next year. The main idea we're getting this, other than like what we said before, where it's like I could get a gym, that'd be cool. So like,
as bodybuilders, do we not do that?
Yeah,
right? I love training. I want a gym.
Yeah,
and then we get one.
Yeah,
and you're like,
then realise,
oh fuck, there's a lot of hours in this. You know.
But I do love it, like you do. Like, it is, and you've got to love it. It's not a business that you take on because you're looking at maximum profits. It's very much like, yeah, you've got to love it. You've got to love it to make it work. I think one of my misconceptions was that having a gym would immediately make my bodybuilding easier
or better.
And it didn't do that. It's definitely took me the 5 years that I've got this to be in a position, and like, even those 2 seasons I've done, the 21 and the 22, I struggled. Like, it wasn't the best prep, it wasn't the easiest prep, it wasn't a breeze at all, and a lot of that was probably building a business, having a young daughter. It wasn't long after I got married, I took a lot on at once, and I do feel like I'm quite good at doing that.
What else can we throw in the mix and just see if we're going to break it?
Let's just move house 4 times on a prep. But no, I do feel like I'm really close, for a number of reasons, physically, mentally, age, my lifestyle, to being in a position to really focus on bodybuilding like I did more when I were in my early 20s. I'll never be able to be as completely like psychotic towards bodybuilding as I were at that point, but I definitely think I can tie everything together to bring the best that I've ever been. And I do think when I do that, for example, I will probably end up as a heavyweight. I don't think there's many heavyweights, if any, in this country that can beat me.
What weight do you have to? What weight will that bring you in at?
So heavyweight will be between 90 and 100 kilos. I'm still at the point where I think my best physique, really, really lean. I am quite light for what I look like, but he's 210 pounds, like 15 stone.
Yeah.
That sits me in heavyweights, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Heavyweight's a pretty good one where you can get a pro card as a heavyweight.
Yeah, no, totally.
You're not the smallest, you're not the biggest.
Oh, look at Adam.
Exactly,
I would say he got an IFBB Pro League invite at the BPA Super Show, which we were part of. And again, he was sat at 96 kilos.
Yeah, perfect.
Which is, that is 86 kilos.
Yeah, but that is still a big man if you are lean, like 100%. And then again, weight's quite irrelevant because everyone's very different with weight. But what that'd do for me is, my goal is to probably turn pro as a heavyweight. I have almost got my eye on classic a little bit, but I cannot make classic amateur weight.
Clearly not, no.
However, the classic pro weight is about 92.5 kilo. And again, I'm not.
Is that where it is on that? Is that an IFBB one?
Yeah. That's for me being 5'8.5", 92.5 kilo. So the 15 stone, 210 pound is about 95 kilo, I think. So even then, I would maybe be pushing it to pull for that.
What makes you sway towards that as an option, or is it just like aesthetic? Or?
What I want to do initially is I want to do the 212. Right. Like I said, I think my best physique is 210 pounds, shredded.
Yeah.
And I would like to turn pro and stand in the 212 at that. There's a chance in the 212 that there could be some extremely muscular 5'4" guy that makes me look a bit.
But you're still going to be giving.
Well, yeah,
a bigger size.
And again, I'm quite confident that I look far bigger than I weigh anyway. So fitting right into a 212 for me suits me. I mean, the year that I did the under 90 Open Yorkshire, I got into 90 and I looked humongous. I looked like I'd cheated to get into that class.
That's why I do under 80.
Exactly.
Again, the height to weight ratio for classic for me sits me bang on 80, 81 kilos.
Yeah.
But I have to be right at the fucking bottom end of it.
And again, like I made 88 kilo there for the Arnold, that banner on the right, to do light heavyweight. And I do think I was probably at a bit of a detriment to make that weight.
You look well there, kid.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I lost some of my good standout body parts to make that weight.
I was going to say I can't.
Whereas this one on the left here is at 15 stone, and obviously there's a lot more thickness and muscle on there. Maybe not as conditioned, but again, I'm another 2 years down the line. I'm probably carrying the most muscle I've ever carried. I just need to. I need to get hard, and I need to not do silly peaking stuff. So
silly peak, go on.
I don't believe in any peaking, to be honest.
I'm with you.
Some of my best, like I said, some of my best shows that have displayed the level of condition I was in at that time in its best light has been by doing absolutely nothing. And like, what's the most common phrase in bodybuilding? I look better 1 week out.
I know.
Before I changed every single variable.
I was going to stop training and fucking.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let's stop this. Let's start that. I haven't ate this, so I'm going to carb up on it. Like insane. Like, so yeah. Like, and I know this because obviously I've been around a while and I've done a lot of shows. But sometimes you have to relearn things many times the hard way.
I know, but your physique and your body changes with age.
That's true. That's very true. Like,
we react differently to things that maybe worked before that didn't, and other things that do now work. And you're like, well, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've tried almost everything, especially.
What was the most tricky bit for you, do you think? Or the thing, and just getting onto stage, which was the bit that caused you the most problem? Mine is finding the dryness. I'd be dry as a bone in the morning, and I can get to some shows, stress myself out, and I just smooth over, didn't you?
Stress is a tough one because how do you not stress for a show, especially when you care? Yeah. One of the ways I do deal with that is by doing less peaking, because the more peaking you do, the more stressful it is ultimately. So I almost set it, lads, sometimes you're just going to train. You're just going there, you're going to put some tan on and you're going to train arms, and then when you've trained arms, pumped up, there you go. And that seems to work quite well for some people. But I know, like, the shows where I've just turned up, they're the ones where I've been backstage and I've got a pump and I've looked at myself and people have been looking at me and going, fucking hell, mate. And I'm like, right, this is all right. Then I've had others where I've done peaks natural diuretics, not natural diuretics, cut this, added this, done that, done 2 bicep curls and gone, oh,
Fuck,
no,
it's here. It's gone. Yeah.
Let's see if there's like you're done by that point. If you're backstage and like you get a pump when you're training, if you're backstage and you're not feeling that pump, you know you've pretty you're either spilled or you're flat or you've missed something. But yeah, peaking's a big one. I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm not the most conditioned guy in the world. I haven't got any. Well, I've got decent legs. I haven't got any really weak body parts. I'm very, very just all-round balanced, in my opinion. Balanced. Yeah, so, and I think it's just time, a bit of maturity, a bit of right place at the right time. I'm financially secure with this. I've got my family. We've done everything early.
Having solid foundations, right?
Yeah.
And giving yourself the easiest thing to go and do the thing you want to do, because it's stressful. It's stressful on everyone around us. We try it not to be, but we turn into knobheads.
Yeah.
At one point within it, we just do. Right?
It requires a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I always said to people, that's okay, but you have got to make up for that after. With your loved ones, with your close people.
We're going away next week. All right,
yeah.
How Sarah's not killed me in the last few weeks. He's a mystery to everybody.
It is tough, but there is also much worse things you could be doing as well. Like,
well, yes, there's that as well.
Yeah, it's and I think when they watch you compete, and it's not always easy when you don't do well. It's easier when you do well, but again, that's not in your control. They sometimes see that success. But it's your career. Like you've built a career through bodybuilding, so you've almost got that reasoning to it in a way.
Well, it's something I love. Well, you love it, I love it, right? And I've really managed to architect some businesses that operate within it. And it's when I had the gyms, and again, I've had 3 over the years, two together at one point. I'm more involved now. A much more involved level with federations, with things, with athletes, everything than I've ever been.
Yeah.
I think what I found out this year, having come back after, I had 7 years off when I did the UK show last year, and that was like test it, a bit like I was saying, see how's the body going to respond. I hadn't shaved my legs for a year because of an injury, and then coming back this year, it was like I love being on stage, right? I've loved it more than I ever have, because I used to get here and go, right, get off. I fucking hate this shit.
Yeah.
I much prefer supporting my mates.
Yeah.
Help you getting the lads through it. When we were stuck with the BPA Super Show, me and Ad both went. And obviously had a win in the under 80 kilos at the British final, which was great. Second on the day in Classic. Could have been a win, that one, I think, if I worked harder. But still fucking brilliant. And I was stood, I'd done the under 80s, and then Ad was in the under 90s, and I was subbing his brother Tony to come round. The point was, and I was like, I'm enjoying watching him win this more than I was myself.
Yeah.
And there's
I mean, that's why a lot of people coach, isn't it? Like, because we can't all be Mr. Olympia, but sometimes someone comes along and you go, yeah, I want to help that person. And it's rewarding. Like for multiple reasons, like not just financial. Obviously, people build careers out of it, but it's definitely rewarding to take someone through that process
and see him achieve a goal, and do something with it. You made a really good point before about we can't all win, right? So has there been any points where you've dealing with when we've been so focused on an outcome, right? And an outcome's always going to be, I want to fucking win. Don't care who you are. If you're getting in the bodybuilding show, you turn up to want to win the fucker. Yeah. Right? And then you don't place where you think you not won. We're further down where we want to do, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience. You walk away thinking, I've just fucking wasted all my time. Yeah. Or I've wasted everybody else's time. That's a personal fuck. I end up being quite introvert and quite self-degradating on it. But I mean, I don't know, how have you found it, or is there never just win everything?
No, honestly, there has been. I think of the 30 odd shows I've done, I think I might have won about 15, mainly qualifiers. Like I said, I always tend to do a bit of a flop at a finals, but there's definitely a couple that I can pick out that were really like. They really make you question what you're doing and if you want to be there. But ultimately, we do just love it. But it were probably second at the NABA Britain that was a tough one for me because it's the ones as well. 18's it's on the other side of that cardboard box. You got it. As well, like if you might have done a prep where you knew you could have tried harder, it doesn't sting as much then. But then if you've done a prep, if you've done a prep where you know that you've like I think I had 18 to 24 months off. Said I were going to do the NABA Northeast. This is 2019. And I were going to win the Britain. That were it. Yeah. That were my goal for 2 years. Good off season, good prep, really good shape. I were ready early. I were confident. Won the Northeast, second at the Britain. Potentially a bit of a controversial second. We've all had a few. Yeah, we're all entitled to our own opinions, which is something that I've come round to more as I've got a bit older. Like,
if we weren't stood backstage, right, mulling over a decision, picking the bones off, it wouldn't be any fun, would it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like everyone's entitled to their opinion. You are, I am, the judges are. But there is also big.
There we go. Right, back in the room. We'll have to wrap this up before long.
I know.
Otherwise, Mrs. will be telling me off again.
I know. I'm getting told.
So we've got a Caine in to see Drew. I was talking to him about his bodybuilding career and what he's doing next, and then we've gone on to PED.
Yeah.
All around here. I mean, she's how it's supposed to be. She's bodybuilding competition. It's fun.
I mean, the original point of that was that flapjacks and insulin didn't work for the I was extremely soft. I wasn't any bigger or more vascular. I definitely didn't beat Dan Welburn or Josh Maylor.
Oh,
so I haven't adopted that method.
No, we never tried it. We have not tried to adjust that one again. No.
No. I mean, again, I used insulin on my last diet. Again, you need to create this environment where you're just doing the same sensible, boring things every day for 16 weeks. Yeah, like I've had a couple of clients come to me lately and they're like, do you think I could do this show in 7 weeks? And I'm like, well, what I'll do is I'll give you one perfect day and I want you to just do it 49 times, all the way up to the show. And it works. Definitely works.
It does. I've seen some of the lads go through. There was, what was it, Dalton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dalton in the Classic in the North East, and then the two young lads we saw they were first timers and novice, weren't they?
Yeah, and it's tough sometimes because they inevitably get to the final week, expect that they're going to get this crazy master plan, and they have to trust me to say, we're not going to do anything. So
that's it. We're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, as a coach, that's one of the things that's hard about coaching. Sometimes you know that nothing needs to be changed, but the client's almost expecting a change. So then you're faced with, do you stick to your guns and tell them they're going to have to just rinse and repeat, or do you sometimes make changes that aren't real changes so that they think they're getting changes? Yeah, which for me, I stick to my guns because
that's why I don't coach anymore.
Well, no, and
I wouldn't do it.
I haven't got a large.
I haven't got a formula that works.
Well, the thing is, though, you absolutely have, because, and again, you start off at a certain weight and a certain body fat, and you get in shape.
Yeah,
everything else, you could say it's genetics, it's timing. Like the formula's very simple. Like. I don't possess any knowledge that potentially any other coach doesn't possess, and I don't believe that coaches at the top do either.
No, he's very much.
They work with the elite. Yeah, like you could prep Nick Walker. Like my mum could prep Nick Walker.
I don't want to.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's like I don't want to be a judge, and I don't want to be a coach.
See, I've judged once. I think Paul or Jason may have asked me to judge at the Open Yorkshire, and to be honest, like. I found that quite a valuable experience just because it kind of taught me more about judging than competing ever teaches you, just in terms of the speed of it and the maths, and it's very much like
criteria. We're looking at the right thing in the right place. Just because it's in condition doesn't mean it's a winner.
100%. And then that's tough, isn't it? Because you're not sat there with the exact criteria of every class when it comes up. I mean, that was obviously someone just asking me to judge an open show. It wasn't necessarily being a qualified judge for an organisation. But even then, I don't know how stringent that process is. I don't think it's that stringent.
It isn't in a lot. NABA would argue they go through a judging process.
Yeah.
Which sometimes looks like it's gone out the window when it gets to fucking judging.
Yeah.
But no, at least there is a process with it. But what we don't do, and I had a conversation about this last night with the guys from the BPA, we set out exactly what is expected within each class criteria.
Yeah.
So this is what this class denotes.
Yeah.
Here's an example of what we would say would be a normal winner within that class. And there we go.
I mean, FitX started out quite like that. They were very much voicing how much they were going to stick to the criteria.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the most muscle and the lowest body fat generally takes precedent, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it's again.
And then even if not on year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, all these classes that have come out that have been potentially less size and condition, they ultimately always follow that path.
We want to see muscle mass and we want to see it in shape, don't we?
Yeah.
Right? But this, and I suppose this is the debate, is like, if that, just because you're in condition, doesn't mean you win the class.
Yeah.
Right? I was trying to find an example. I'm going to have to use classic, right? Because that's the one I do, and I know that's probably where it's most relevant. Size, height, weight, ratioed, right? It's about proportions.
Yeah.
It's about the balance, the symmetry, and what that overall frame's like, as well as the muscularity and condition. If you've got all 3 of those, then really you should be winning that class.
Yeah.
Right. If your next man to you is absolutely shredded but hasn't got that X frame to go with it, well, great, well done.
Yeah.
Right, fucking well done. You fucking nailed me on condition, but I'm just better at this.
Yeah, because it's not a dieting competition.
No, it's not.
But it's tough. It is tough. Like, opinions, number of judges, and at the end of the day, it's a mathematical equation that goes in and comes out.
Yeah, so the 2 fucking top end and bottom end get fucked off anyway.
Yeah, well, this is it, and I hope they do. Whether or not that does happen, do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see more transparency with judging.
Right, get this on camera.
Do you know when you watch the Olympics and they score people and you can see what the judges are scoring? So, I don't understand why in bodybuilding we've got this secrecy around.
So this is what I put forward last night on a BPA Zoom call that was with me, Helen, Steve and Harry, right, about certain things. And my pitch, and anybody who knows me know that I'm not making this up, is I want to publish the judges' scorecards as they're on, or as it's just come up.
Yeah.
There's your scores. Those 2 got left because they weren't, and that's how it was scored. I want to go as far, and I got a little bit of, not pushback, but again, looking at it, we need to look at it a bit further. I want to put the judges' names on the scorecards, because I'm sorry, if you're judging, then you should stick by what your opinion is. We asked you for that opinion, and that's not. I suppose the counter argument was that people think that I've got something against them or not, and then they think then that creates other issues. Yeah. But it's not. It's about, well, that's just how I saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to be able to do that. And then you go, all right, well, that's how that's been scored. Yeah. That's how it was got. They was the class criteria before you fucking started.
Yeah.
So if you're the layperson and you're supporting your mate, as most of us are, right? I go, that makes sense. I understand.
And then I think if someone's consistently inaccurate, there's got to be some kind of repercussion towards
going, why the fuck are you off all the time?
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly that. Going, we need to either retrain you or we need to ask you not to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Can we find something else? There's some interesting things coming with that.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
We're all going to debate a decision, right, on stage. Yeah. Because a lot of the time we don't actually know all of those facts.
Yeah.
But I think from an audience point of view, from an athlete point of view, the better we are at being transparent about what's going on, because there should be no fucking secret.
Yeah.
You asked us for our opinion, you got up there and asked us for it, and this is where it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't understand why it's always been so secret. It's crazy.
People are fucking manipulating decisions to get the people they want to win.
I mean, there was even a pro show at the weekend, the one that Chris Bumstead did, the Prague show. They released a scorecard after, and no word of a lie, every single score just numerically fit perfectly to the result. But it were first place 3-3, pre-judging and finals. Second place 6-6. It was so numerically perfect. There's no way that wasn't just produced after the result had come out. That's not an official card.
That's just, we've made it up so fucking say it. All right. Hey, man, you all right?
He wants round 2, Ben. You enjoyed first one, that one. It's Mr. UK first time as champion.
There we are. We've got a video of him coming out in the next week or so. Yeah. Follow the muscle tan one, and I'm going to put them on there, and we'll over the next few weeks a bit more. So some from the UK and all the rest. Get you on that, King God.
So yeah, like I don't understand why they don't do that. I think it'd definitely benefit bodybuilding, but it's wild, really.
But it's not wild. It's because we've all seen. I sat there, question decisions. Know that some things have been done in favour of certain athletes because of, again, maybe what their fucking influence was, what their sponsorship was, who they were, and what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right, and that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you were a judge, like you wouldn't be scared of people seeing your scorecard.
Why would you fuck with that?
Exactly. Because it's your job. Like it's your job to do it. You're supposed to be qualified. And the only thing I can see is organisations are like, yeah, but then people are going to go after that person. It's like they're not. And even if they did, they do it in Olympics. So
so if you've come after me because I've given I stood on what I said because I thought you were the third best in that lineup based on this criteria. And soz, if you don't like it.
And also, it kind of eliminates this element of asking for feedback when feedback is always just get a bit bigger.
Get a bit bigger,
just get a big,
drier.
Just get a big lad. Just thought you needed to be cleaner. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, thanks. Like, I've been trying to get big and lean my entire life. I didn't need that feedback.
That's exactly what I wasn't trying. I I need to fucking do that next time.
So yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a governing body that, because someone's got to enforce these things, aren't they? But this is the problem. The organisations are just a law unto themselves because they're just businesses at the end of the day.
You say you're right. You've got to run it as a business because
you definitely do. Right, that's absolutely valid.
And if you're not, because NABA doesn't run it as a business; it's a non-profit.
Well,
which is just part of its fucking problem, right? Anyway, don't start me on that. It's like we've got our customers, our athletes.
Yeah.
And the audience walking through the door, but the athletes first and foremost, because they bring more customers in. Yeah. Once we understand that, we need to look after them and give them a fucking station standard. They're simple. How do we attract them? By doing good things, right? And then going around and promoting what we do to get them out anyway. So it has to be a business in some respects.
Thank you, Paul.
But at the same time, and it will sound like you're going off on with Pete. Like the PCA is a very well-run machine.
Yeah,
it is the biggest bodybuilding federation within the UK.
Yeah,
possibly going to within Europe.
Yeah, well, and beyond. Yeah,
and I tell you what, I take my hat off to Ryan and Warren for what they've done. Everybody, the whole team behind it. Because I remember Ryan was judging for us at our second IBFA show we did at York at the university. First time I ever met him, and they just set a PCA up, and we were inviting the winners of the IBFA to the PCA British finals to fill it up. And I thought, he's going to do something with it.
Yeah,
and that was 2012. I think it was 2015. It was.
I think so. When I did PCA in 2017. I had great experiences with them. It had already grown a little bit, but it was nothing like it is now. It's only gone up on an upward trajectory. Like, you get fantastic pictures, everything's organised, everything's, and like I know people like, for example, Dan Welburn that's in there, and I said to Dan, how do they do it? And he says it's like a military operation, like the way they run it. Those last few shows at that Telford Exhibition Centre are just mind-blowing. There's 50 full runners or athletes. You know, it's crazy, like everything. Like Eliza competed with him this year, really good experience. What they do it really well, and like they are potentially the biggest in the country.
36 fucking shows next year.
Oh, it's mental. Weekend after weekend, and he's there at them all. And like the maddest thing as well, Ryan sat there on the mic.
I know
the entire show. Like
he's an idiot like us. He loves it, and he's loved it. He loves it that much. He took it to the extreme of creating. Because for the same reasons we've just spoke about, wanted to do it in a way that was their way.
Yeah,
and they've nailed it.
It's undeniable. It's undeniable how successful it's been, and obviously it'll keep going. they've built this pro league now, which some people are sticking with. That's what they need. They need good guys to stick in their pro league instead of seeing the allure of the IFBB.
But that again, so this is.
But they've maybe got to pay them for that.
So I don't know what the deal is with becoming a pro with PCA, but as long as you grow the pro leagues out and the pros have got somewhere to go, and we're seeing top pros on that show, then that's fucking, that's what. Look at what your parallels with you and Abba. If that was there and that existed, you go and do it, because you're going to be up against another elite athletes that are all at that pro level.
Yeah, it's competitive. There's money there. It's a good stage.
Exactly.
And again, it absolutely brings something. Like, we do need multiple pro leagues. We can't just have one.
No. And the AFBB, I mean, I don't know if I'm right or wrong with this, right? But there was, I believe that they weren't interested in being part of that.
Well, I think there has been occasions where I've heard that Ryan's maybe been offered it.
Yeah.
And I think if he got offered it now, I think he would turn it down.
Why bother when you've built your own legacy? You're not beholden to anybody else.
And if you want to talk about money and business, I would imagine if you saw the true figures of all the organisations, I would imagine PCA is probably the most profitable as well. So they're nailing it. They're so well.
We're entrepreneurs, right, as well as being bodybuilders.
You start to look at a lot of stuff as it's just what you do.
And you, again, if you sat there going, "Oh, I don't like it," well, you're just jealous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's we take the Ralph anyway. We've gone off again.
I know.
I would do this all day with you. We're going to have to do some more. We're going to have to wrap up.
I know. We're going to have to. We're going to have to plan some segments, and I'll come to you. I'll put some time to one side. I'll come to you, and we'll do a proper day.
We'll do that, and I'm going to do. My plan is to do a bi-weekly show.
Yeah.
Where we pick over the bones of bodybuilding news, right?
Yeah.
With Gary Chappell, who's the guy who has double front.
Yeah.
Gary's a journalist by trade. Also, I think got one of the nicest fucking physiques in the over 45s I've seen. Fucking balance and symmetry there. But he's the same. He will sit in there.
Yeah.
We'll panel of us for a time, and we'll come on and we'll talk shit about bodybuilding. And see if we get any traction out of it, or if it's just us talking shit about us. I'm all right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all right with that.
If it works, it works. If it don't, we all get to have a chat, don't we?
We can sit and talk this nonsense, and it saves Sarah and our other significant others going, "Oh, he's off again." He fucking says he's never doing this again, and there he is.
There's a show at weekend. There's a shoot on Wednesday.
It's in our DNA, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's
it's just a love for bodybuilding, isn't it?
Yeah.
And hopefully other people that love bodybuilding would like to see that, and I know they would. So.
I love seeing great physiques, right? And we always appreciate the work. When you do it yourself, you appreciate the work, the hard work, the fucking sacrifice that goes in it, not just by the individual, but everyone surrounded with it. When the shows are being put on the well and people's aspirations to do stuff, when you deliver a good athlete experience where you've enjoyed it, we respect it.
I mean, we haven't necessarily known each other properly for long, have we? But as soon as we met each other, you've already got that mutual respect and appreciation. Then inevitably you click fairly well.
Well, the first time I met you, I thought you don't like me. I was like, "Don't be here with your dream tan," and I was joking. And he went, "Oh, what?" And I went, "Oh, you can clean it up."
Yeah.
All right.
No, I do remember that.
So that was it.
It's always stressful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tanning. The thing is, I probably didn't want to be using that dream tan on that.
Nobody ever does, to be honest with you. But hey, we'll do that another point.
Yeah.
True, mate.
Always a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. I'm glad we've got managed to fit that in, because I think we're going to end up doing quite a bit more of it.
Maybe do a bit of training as well.
I'd love that.
Do a bit of training, do a bit of chatting.
Yeah,
something to eat.
Definitely do that, mate.
Beautiful.
So for everyone that's watched it, because we actually do get some views when this stuff comes out.
Good.
Drew Walker.
Thank you, guys.
Back on stage next year.
Absolutely. 2025.
Chasing that pro card.
We'll see.
Let's see where we are.
That's it.
Right, well,
thank you.
Cheers, guys. Oh, mate.